Welcome to the Devil's Advocrits, where we usually make it our mission to disagree with Rotten Tomatoes.
2016, an awful year for cinema, is finally over. And we'd like to share with you the few movies that we actually did enjoy enough to remember or even see again in some cases. While we're usually a concept channel that disagrees with Rotten Tomatoes, today Evan and I are going to respectively tell you our genuine thoughts on what were the best films to not have been missed this past year, of which we saw over 100. So I think we're a little qualified to say that these are probably the cream of the crop. We didn't miss that many of the big ones. Year over.
We'll start with honorable mention, going in chronological order. First off, we have Zootopia. Disney did a great job with this mystery. It just had a little bit too little of that buddy cop dynamic I really liked to make the top 10. Coming next, we have 10 Cloverfield Lane. For me, I loved about 90% of this movie before it shit the bed at the end, but it's the kind of blockbuster I want to see. It was made with a true directorial voice, and I'm glad for that. And then finally, we have The Lobster. I saw this movie alone, and I didn't think that much of it at the time, but it really stuck with me, mainly because of Colin Farrell's performance. The guy's a genius, the sense of humor is very fun, and I'm glad that I got to see it.
Honorable mentions for me were Moana, probably the best soundtrack of the year, The Neon Demon, probably the best cinematography of the year, and Sully, one of my favorite performances of the year coming from Aaron Eckhart in that supporting role. Really hope he gets a nomination, but it isn't looking like it. Let's get into it.
My number 10 best movie of the year is Allied. I don't get why people didn't like this one. I thought that the script was really tight, especially in the way that it advances conflicts in a very cause and effect way over these short periods of time, and Marion Cotillard hit it out the park.
My number 10 movie of the year is Queen of Katwe. Excellent performance by David Oyelowo, excellent performance by Lupita Nyong'o, and also just excellent performances all around by a bunch of child actors. We saw Hidden Figures earlier this week, and it's a pretty damn solid movie, but this one has my money for most inspirational, uplifting, real-life story of an unsung hero.
My number 9 best movie of the year goes to The Hunt for the Wilderpeople. This movie just manages to cram so much into its relatively short runtime. We have laughs, we have some sad stuff, and huge scope for a very small budget. Very excited to see what the director does with Thor Ragnarok.
My number 9 best movie of the year was Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping. What a surprise this one was. The Lonely Island is always good for squeezing out a couple laughs in 3-minute segments, but this is the hardest and longest I've laughed in a movie theater since I saw Wolf of Wall Street like 3 years ago by now. I think I'm pretty tough on comedies. It's pretty difficult to get me to laugh in a theater, and this one did it over and over and over again. The TMZ jokes, stellar.
Number 8 best movie of the year goes to Silence. There's always a movie I see in December that somehow squeaks in, and in this case, it was Martin Scorsese's grueling 3-hour Catholicism epic. I'm a Jewish guy, but I really liked the kinds of moral questions the movie was posing, and the fact that it just went so deep and was so thorough, as well as being a really well shot and well edited film.
Number 8 for me was The Edge of 17. Haley Steinfeld is near perfectly cast the protagonist of this awesome high school dramedy, really emotionally resonant, probably the best teen movie I've seen since Easy A, and that was like in 2009 or something. We were long overdue for something like this. A lot of people are comparing it to John Hughes. That. John Hughes is an excellent director for teen movies. This didn't feel like a John Hughes movie for me. I think that's lazy to say it feels like a John Hughes movie. Why can't we say what it is? It's a brilliant film about teenagers that's funny, sweet, emotional, and is directed by a woman with her own original voice.
Number 7 best movie of the year goes to Elle. Paul Verhoeven is sort of like a European Brian De Palma. He does sex and violence so well, and for my American sensibilities, I was enraptured with what happened. This is a rape, mystery, black comedy, melodrama. It's everything on the screen, and it is just a wonderful and horrifying time at the movies.
Number 7 for me is my pick for the Andrew Garfield movie of the year, Hacksaw Ridge. Mel Gibson is back in his A-game behind the director's chair. Yeah, I don't have any respect for him as a human being, but as a filmmaker, boy, does he make something fresh here. Every single moment feels like it should be a cliche, with the drill sergeant, with the honest hero, with the woman back at home that he loves, and yet it all just feels so tight and fresh. This is a classic for the ages as far as the war genre goes, a genre I usually hate.
Number 6 best movie of the year goes to Edge of 17. John gave an impassioned speech, which you can re-listen to if you want. I'll add that I really liked the handling of the relationship between our lead character and her sort of maybe going to be boyfriend. It really captured the awkwardness of high school very well.
Number 6 for me is a huge guilty pleasure. It's Richard Linklater's Everybody Wants Some. Perhaps the most fun I had sitting in a movie theater this year, despite the fact that it's about a bunch of baseball jocks bullshitting and saying how they want to hook up with as many girls as possible while they binge drink. Yeah, I shouldn't love it, but boy, do I.
Number 5 for me, Everybody Wants Some. Like John said, it's a guilty pleasure, but Linklater did this amazing follow-up to Boyhood. That movie is 12 years and 3 hours, and this movie is 3 days and 2 hours. It does the same thing where it's about naturalistic slice-of-life stuff, but about one weekend and how important that can be in someone's life.
Number 5 for me is Manchester by the Sea. Casey Affleck anchors this film with a great performance, but Michelle Williams is the one I'm still remembering all these months later after seeing it for the first time. I've seen the movie twice. It is extremely emotionally resonant. It's a tremendously non-hokey look at tragedy, and I dare you to not be affected by it if you see it.
Number 4 best movie of the year for me is La La Land. This is an original musical, and it got me humming the songs, but even better, I got emotionally invested in the characters. The end of the movie hit me like a sledgehammer, mostly because Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone are wonderful performers, even if they're not the greatest singers and dancers.
My number 4 movie of the year might be higher when I see it a second time, but unfortunately I haven't gotten around to it yet. That is Barry Jenkins' second feature film, Moonlight. It is a brilliant film sewn together by 3 brilliant lead actors of different ages playing the same character, with some of the most inventive cinematography I've seen in a damn long time. Super resonant, super intimate, the perfect antidote to Richard Linklater, and I love them both.
Number 3 for me is Barry Jenkins' Moonlight. I agree that a second viewing could really bring out a lot in the movie because even on one viewing, it was so rich in the symbolism, in the score, the way that the different things melded together, and that's why I'm really excited to watch it a second time. I know that it's a powerful movie. All 3 parts were firing on all cylinders.
Number 3 for me is Paul Verhoeven's Elle. This is a movie that was always one step ahead of me, constantly surprising me when I thought I knew where it was going in all the best ways. It's tremendously compelling. It has an excellent lead performance by Isabelle Huppert, and it's one of the most well-rounded, fully fleshed out, real lived-in feeling characters I've seen on screen all year. That's for damn sure.
Number 2 best movie of the year goes to Arrival. Denis Villeneuve made a Christopher Nolan type sci-fi movie, but without any of the trappings of Christopher Nolan. So it was a mind bender, but it was completely free of some expectations we might have for that experience. In fact, it's an emotional sledgehammer. It just takes you on a journey. Amy Adams is incredible. Multiple viewings have allowed me to see that Jeremy Renner is also incredible. I've seen this movie 3 times in theaters. It is yet to lose any value to me. It is still an incredible experience.
Number 2 for me is also Arrival. I wept in this movie, and that never, ever happens. You'll see a single tear every now and then, but boy, this movie f***ed me up.
My number 1 favorite movie of the year goes to Manchester by the Sea. I've also seen this movie several times in theaters, and the thing that strikes me is actually how much I laugh in the movie. It gets real depressing at times, but there's so much well-observed humor and life's little frustrations, and that's something that I appreciate that makes it a little bit more watchable in addition to the depressing stuff.
Number 1 best movie of the year for me was a movie that I tried so hard to hate, but it forced me to love it. It is La La Land, Damien Chazelle's follow-up to Whiplash, another excellent movie. One of the best soundtracks of the year, original music I've been playing nonstop. 2 incredibly charming lead performances by Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, respectively. And easily the most enjoyable 2 hours at a movie theater I've had in the longest time, and you should too. Everyone should see this movie. It's a beautiful ode to the arts. It's a movie that's so easy to tear apart and be snobbish about because it's flawed for sure, and that's what I thought I was going to be. It's what people talk about when they all too often call something an instant classic. It's a movie that's simultaneously beautiful and emotionally dour from its first to last frame without ever letting up.
You've heard our top 10. What's yours, guys? Sound off in the comments. And if you have a free minute, watch Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stoppin'.
If you want to hear about our least favorite movies of the year, check out that video if you haven't already. And stay tuned to our channel for 2017, where we will continue to disagree with Rotten Tomatoes for old movies, new movies, and ones that we get drunk for.